Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about 5 tips that you should not do when you're trying to grow a social media presence for your furniture flipping business. Now, these are tips that no matter what your niche is, you should not be doing. So this is not just for furniture flippers. This is for anybody that's trying to grow a social media presence. But I've been getting some questions about social media questions in general. And so I thought these 5 quick tips is just something that would be helpful here on the podcast and just for good practice as you're trying to grow a social media presence. So number 1, I've said it here before, I am a huge advocate for getting a social media platform or presence going for your furniture flipping business or any business that you have. I am somebody that I do not use social media at all for anything personal. I just don't want to. I just don't. But I see how important it is for business, and so I'm all in for that. So definitely a question that came in, and one of the questions that started this discussion inside my Furniture Flipping Academy is, do I have to have a social media account or presence to start flipping? Nope, not at all. You do not have to, but I highly encourage that you make that part of your plan at some point in your journey. So today I'm just going to share 5 tips that you should not do when you're trying to grow a social media presence in any niche, but it came about with my furniture flipping. It came about with that question inside my academy. So number 1, ignoring your target audience. Do not ignore your target audience. Those are your ideal customers. That's your ideal person. You want to tailor your content and your strategies to your target audience, your target demographic. Posting content that doesn't really resonate with them will lead in disinterest, unfollows. They may pay attention to your stuff, but they may not. You definitely want to make sure that you are keeping your content and your strategy tailored to your target audience. Number 2, overposting or spamming. And I say or spamming, but sometimes overposting looks spammy. And so don't bombard your followers with excessive posts. Everything you do on social media, quality over quantity is the most important thing. You don't want to overwhelm your audience with too much posting. You just want to make sure that you're giving them good quality content. You have a good strategy behind it, and just don't overpost. One thing here too that you want to remember is you definitely want to find a balance that, number 1, works for your audience, but also that keeps you sticking to a consistent posting schedule. Now, I have talked about that before many times here on the podcast. Consistency and quality are key, and consistency is going to look different for everybody. If you can only post once a week and stick to that, then stick to that. That's your consistency. If you're somebody that posts twice a day, on your account, that's consistency for you. But definitely pick something that you can stick to and that your audience can look forward to and count on. So definitely remember that. Number 3, neglecting engagement. Do not neglect engagement. It's your social media, no matter where you are posting, it is not just a one-way broadcasting platform. It's not just a one-way, I'm just talking to you. Don't ignore your comments, your messages, your mentions. It kind of makes your audience or the people that are coming to you feel underappreciated. I just set aside some time during the day, 5 minutes, does a lot, just to respond to the comments, the people that are engaging on your content, your posts, your stories, your lives, your videos, whatever it is, just respond to those comments. If somebody shares your content and tags you, respond to that. Just don't neglect engagement on your social media platforms, wherever you are posting. Number 4, ignoring analytics. I say this, it's important to look at them, but I also don't want you to get obsessed with them, right? Because we can sit and look at numbers all day long, and social media is an ever-changing thing, right? So one week, what you're doing is working great. And then the next week, the algorithm has changed and those same items or those same things are not going to work. So use your analytics, but don't become obsessed with them, right? So monitor them, see what's working, see what's not working. Don't just blindly, post without understanding what works and what doesn't. But again, always keep in the back of your head, the algorithms are always changing. So don't get frustrated with that. It's just something that we know going into it, that's going to be part of the business, right? Like that's part of the social media business. They are free platforms to advertise your business to an audience. So that's just part of the contract you get with social media when you are posting your content. So just checking metrics like engagement rates, follower growth, post reach, just those things, again, don't get obsessed with it. They're going to change all the time, but then you can just kind of adjust your strategy based on what you're finding out in your analytics. And then number 5, do not just focus solely on self-promotion, right? So your business, that's why you do have this social media account, right? This is why you did make this profile. It's for your business, right? That's the primary goal. We get it. But just don't make every post about self-promotion, right? Like about, I have this for sale. I have this offer. You want to, what is the saying? Something like give, and then sell, right? So you want to give a lot of good content in between the times when you're trying to promote something, if that makes sense. So if you're constantly overly self-promoting, it can look spammy and it can turn people away. So you just want to always provide value to your audience, right? Share tips, share tutorials, behind the scenes, glimpse of like what your workday looks like. You can share all those kinds of things without constantly saying, come buy this. Come, this piece is for sale. I have this offer, buy this. In between those promotional times, which is part of your strategy, you need to be offering that other content that is just full of value for your audience. A quick podcast today. I love quick podcasts that just give me 5 or 10 just real good nuggets of information. So I'm not, don't have to spend a ton of time listening to it, but I can walk away with things that I can work on or things that I need to think about a little bit differently or things I learned, tips, tricks, techniques. So I hope this was helpful. As always, I love when you share the podcast. So if you know somebody that could use this, please share it. If there's some other topics you want me to discuss or some questions or things like that, let me know. Reach out to me on through email, lindsay@mycreativedays.com, or on Instagram @mycreativedays. I am always looking for your suggestions and your ideas and topics and questions to share here on the podcast. Until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.